So I spoke to many of the volunteers from many of the businesses who were helping to manage the streets, the pedestrians, and also many of the police officers on the front line, as well as speak to many of the businesses that are directly impacted either because their own businesses or buildings have been destroyed or they're in neighbouring streets that have been closed down. And first and foremost, I want to say thank you to the emergency services for their rapid response. I don't think you can emphasise enough how brave these individuals are. When people rightly run away from danger, these people run towards danger in order to protect their fellow citizens, and they deserve absolute praise for that. But we do now have to think about how we support those local businesses, how we make sure there is safety on the site, it's secured, how we can get travel back active again, for example at Central Station or the various bus routes that have been impacted by this, and also to try and encourage commuters, business people, workers and travellers into the city again, so we can get it, the heart beating of our great city centre. But on a personal level, I have been down at that site countless times, and whether I was a young person, a student, or even after that, and to see those scenes last night and to see the level of destruction this morning is frankly heartbreaking from such an iconic part of our great city.
If it does come out that the fire started from a vape shop, would you be calling for tougher regulations on such lithium batteries?
Look, I think in the cold light of day, once this is fully under control, once the building is safe and secure, once we can get free flow of traffic and hopefully those businesses up and running again, there'll be many areas that of course people will want to explore to make sure we have the right levels of regulation, legislation, but also the right levels of support for individual businesses. And that may well include looking at the safety and security around vape shops, what happens around many of the batteries that exist around that, the storage of them, as well as the right levels of support that are going to go to individual businesses. Many of these businesses have lost their livelihoods, which is of course heartbreaking for them, their family, their staff, as well as the broader emotion that people feel across the city, as well as obviously speaking to the fire and rescue service to make sure they feel as if they were adequately resourced and supported. I think that's also going to be an important part of the conversation, but these are of course all things that we'll look at in the coming days.
This has been an incredibly serious incident right in the heart of the centre of Glasgow, and the only silver lining is that nobody has been injured in what is an enormous fire that has taken place. The response of all of our emergency service partners has been exemplary, and I want to thank all of them for the partnership that has been undertaken overnight and the collaborative work that has brought this fire under control and has done so without any impact on people's the welfare and well-being of individuals. So that's a great relief. There is of course enormous disruption in the centre of Glasgow today with the closure of Central Station and the disruption to a number of major thoroughfares in the centre of the city. So it is absolutely vital that we concentrate on recovery, on making sure the area is safe, and that we enable that recovery at the earliest possible opportunity. And the Scottish Government is working closely with Glasgow City Council on enabling that to be the case, and we will support them in their efforts. Certainly Glasgow Central Station is going to be closed at least for today and tomorrow, and I do assure members of the public that every effort is being undertaken to make sure that we can open the station as quickly as it is safe to do so. And that will be the focus of all of the work that is undertaken to ensure that's the case. But we have to make sure that what are clearly very unstable buildings are made safe before that can be undertaken. So there will be a period of disruption, but I assure members of the public that we will minimise that to the greatest extent possible. The information that I've had is that the fire started in a vape shop on the street, and it spread into other buildings. It has taken hold very, very quickly in other buildings, and there has been widespread damage as a consequence. So in all that we've got to do, we've got to focus on making sure that the area is safe and that we can allow the investigation that's got to be undertaken to understand all of the reasons and the issues that led to this fire. There will have to be a great deal of advice taken about the safety of the building and what the next steps should be. There's obviously a very vulnerable situation here. We need to remedy that as quickly as possible to make sure that we can access Central Station and that members of the public can use our transport services and the roads can be reopened. There are businesses in the city centre significantly affected by this disruption. So we have to focus on the steps to enable that recovery as quickly as possible. That will be central to the thinking, and obviously the stabilisation of the building will be part of that discussion. We need to look at the investigation that will be undertaken on this particular issue, but if the fire did start in the vape shop, which is what I've certainly been briefed that was the case, then it will raise issues about the safety of such premises, and it's vital that we examine all of those issues with an open mind. I give the public an assurance the government will do exactly that, and to determine whether there are safety issues that need to be addressed. Having seen some of the footage of the early moments of the fire and seeing and hearing the explosions, I can understand why there is deep public unease about these issues. So those issues will have to be considered in open detail. Obviously this is a very disruptive incident to have happened in the city. That's why it's important that the government works closely with the City Council to enable recovery to take place. That's exactly what the government will do to make it possible for the city to recover as quickly as possible. Glasgow is a strong city of tremendous purpose, and the city is ready for the Commonwealth Games, and we need to make sure that we overcome this particular obstacle to make sure the city is ready.